Hello and welcome, esports fans. We are here live with the Overwatch Contenders Trials. This is Monkey Bubble, stream number 2. That's Reflash. I'm FBI Tugboat here, joined with Man of Class. How are you doing today, my man? It has been a while. Absolutely. Well, we all have to adjust, right? We are literally living in unprecedented times right now, so I'm not going to complain too much. And there's lots of other esports that are having just a heck of a time with live versus LAN competitions, but, you know, we're here to talk about Overwatch. Young and Beautiful, Morning Stars, two different teams that have been around for quite a while. Young and Beautiful particularly, several different seasons, so let's hop right into this and talk about the Young and Beautiful. Yeah, Overwatch League. Yeah.
Going.
Yeah, a lot of this. I mean, we already saw what these really wonky DPS, the flexible and mobile DPS can do, right? Genji and a little bit of Doomfist action. Yesterday, we saw what that can happen. What I'm gonna be looking is Yikids. I do believe I pronounced that correctly. Yiqids. Yes, Yikids, the Norwegian. That's Norwegian. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Flex DPS, the Genji, and the Doomfist. That's really where I'll be looking now. This is also a 16-year-old as well, and he's been in Contenders for a while, several different seasons now. So really, there's just a lot of potential for this player, and that's why my attention, for the most part, when Young and Beautiful is on the offense, going to be going towards him.
Definitely, and it's really about those Genjis right now, about those Flex DPS. We saw it yesterday, even in the OWL finals, like the Summer Showdown. It was insane going. But then we go to Samsung Morning Stars. They have a very few experienced players on there. Like I particularly look like a player like Adnar, who's been on several rosters over the time, he's on some World Cup representation, and he has always been that very calming, very centered presence in a team. Whether he's on the main support or the flex support, this time it's going to be main support. Always brings that level-headedness to the team that he's just brought with all his experience, and he is also very centered as a person himself. I have a little bit of personal history with him, so that's very, very interesting to see. But the rest of the roster, they don't have a ton of achievements between them, but that gives them all the more reason to prove themselves, right? That should really give them that drive to just go in there and get that contender spot and get that win against a team like Young and Beautiful.
Yes, sir. I think we ran through the formats. You said there's first or two, but I think it's worthwhile to mention that these can end in ties, given how these are going, right? Yes, we're starting with the control, ending the control, but other game modes, it is possible. Different likelihoods given the game mode, but
100%.
Not in ties. Yeah.
Yeah. So starting on Busan that's where we're gonna go first. We're just waiting, obviously, for the teams to get into the game. They're all in the lobbies. I think they're rearing to go. So are we. So whenever they're ready, I'm sure we'll see the game come up. But yeah, like you said, first to two format, of course, different than best of three, where indeed you need to actually win the map. So if it's a draw, we just go to the next one. Just keep on going, and yeah, just go next. GG, go next, right? Now, if I were to make a prediction, and if basically this entire trials community was to make a prediction, I think we got a pie chart because we did a little bit of response, feeler for everybody. I think we got about 94 point something percent going into the favor of Young and Beautiful, which is quite hectic. And of course, these teams know each other. These players know all the players in the teams. I feel like they have a good idea of where this is going. So this might be slightly one-sided.
A lot to be said for it. Obviously, that is a very well informed percentage in the vote that was taken on there and stuff. I think we kind of covered it a minute ago. Young and Beautiful are coming through, and there's a lot to be said for the experience on this stage. They also have an Overwatch League player, so that really does not get more more pressurized in the Overwatch League. But Busan first, and we'll see how this goes. Young and Beautiful here on the left, the gray, and then Morning Stars on the right, in that green. And this would not be an Overwatch game unless we started the pause, right?
Of course. I think they're probably checking their pause button. That's often what players do, right? So the players are hosting the lobby, and they don't often do that. So usually they just have to check, like, is our pause key actually on? Because it isn't official, right? Like, you don't want to be all of a sudden booped out of your game or disqualified or get action onto you. But we're going into this Busan downtown, like you said. Immediately we can see what the teams are looking to come out with. And it is fairly similar. I'm not too surprised to see this. So we do see a Symmetra and a Lucio, but that's probably going to change to Brigitte and a Genji or an Echo of some kind, because of the whole fact that you actually just get out of spawn quicker with a speed boost or with a teleporter. So that's why they have those heroes up. Not expecting Symmetra to do a whole lot on downtown here.
No, exactly. Well, if we're talking about why, there's just so little places outside of that middle turret for the Symmetras to put that on. That's now there's Twitch coming through. The mirrors on the Ashe and the Genji. See how this goes to go. And actually, no, this is a perfect matchup all the way through. Different methods of getting out, but both teams still doing it. This is Young and Beautiful, back left, really more centered. We get a super low Q-Best. Q-Best now getting over, forced to put out that invincibility shield. A lot of back and forth as the shields do fall. Jonah taking out his counterpart in this one. And oh man, bad move for that. That is Morning Stars getting absolutely decimated. Full team kill already, man.
Yeah, that was not even really a fight. Yona gets that first pick off, then it's just go time. Everything gets chipped down, bursted out. And a lot of it, you can actually see that Khan did a beautiful job healing, is over 30% ahead in ult charge onto Q-Best. And that is hard to keep up with. Yikits did more damage. Yona did about the same, but it's really like, you see the damage difference, and especially Brussen up to weak Q is just amazing.
The ultimate charges up to this point, different in every way, shape, and form. Again, it's definitely badass. 22-25% now for the side of Young and Beautiful is taking a little bit of a look to this team fight. They lost one, Young and Beautiful, or Morning Stars did, excuse me, a minute ago, kind of from over here, but Q-Best falling first, Adnar second, and now the Blade as well as the Rally. Both healers down, not 100% sure if Young and Beautiful needed that.
No, but you might not have needed it, but you still secure the fight with it. You still have quite a few ultimates in the bank. They're going to have 4 for the next fight. And they know that since that Amplification Matrix and that Blade were used from the side of Samsung Morning Stars, you're going to be even, if not still, up in ultimates. So they're still good. They're still in a good rotation. And they only have one long or maybe even two shorter fights to go.
Yeah, very good point. It's all about that momentum. Now, Yikid's pulling that one out. Young and Beautiful using this one. Swipes all over the place, and that's almost a single-handed act here from Yikids.
Yeah, so far it really seems like that 95% win rate prediction was quite accurate. There doesn't really seem to be much that Samsung can do at this point, and we'll see if we can obviously spot some things that they can maybe work on, do a little bit better. But there's of course an aggressive push already from Young and Beautiful. They're just gonna go in there, Tugboat.
Wow, a big trade already. This matchup so far, Mana Class, has really been marked by players taking out their counterparts. This card, it started out with Adnar taking out his counterpart. That was Dala on the brig. Now Dala switching on over to Lucio as this team fight doth end. This is Young and Beautiful very comfortably in the driver's seat.
Yeah, 1% do they
touch?
time? No. Close, but no cigar for that one. 100-0. And like we said, I don't really feel like Young and Beautiful was ever really in trouble. They just seem to calmly play their game, rotate their abilities, and just get the more chip damage in, and just head in ultimates every single time. So we're really got to see Morningstar maybe try something different, because I don't think the mirror matchup is really for them. They might have to go for something a little bit different, maybe play more of a Wrecking Ball, maybe a bit dive-ish, maybe throw the Echo if you really want to. But we're going to see Yona likely pull out the Widowmaker here, which on this point I really like. You know, you have a fairly open, long sideline, and it's relatively hard for the enemy to actually get to you. And Yona has been marked in his career by very good Widowmaker play.
I think a lot of this is having the ability to experiment around a little bit. Team Young and Beautiful and Yikid specifically up 1-0 in this matchup. They only need to take one more on the Busan to take first to 2 format. So longer sidelines out. Now Ash, that's QQ Bao, getting a lot of flack against Yona, really shutting that one down for the time being. Now team fight going on point. A lot of brawling going on here as Morningstar is actually holding their own a little bit better. Cookie getting a lot of damage out, but taking a lot of his own. Then vulnerability shield coming out as Yona lands a nasty heady against the main tank. That's Cookie. All shall fall afterwards. Morningstar's almost a full team kill.
And you really see that inherent ability control that Young and Beautiful is putting out. Like exactly, they know exactly their shield timings, their cooldown timings, their mortality field placement, like all of that just feels just one step above, one notch above what Samsung is doing. They're a little bit sloppier, a little bit less coordinated with some of these cooldowns, and that just opens up these avenues for extra damage to come in, for the tanks to lose their matchup, all of that.
I'm with it. Both healers on all sides, pretty close to ultimate. Q-Best almost falling, getting that field out just in time, but QQ falling first. And we saw how this fist fight went last time. Dala getting what he can done, but Young and Beautiful absolutely ripping through again. That was all but a team kill because QQ fell a little bit earlier.
Yeah, they're really looking to go for that record of how quickly can we actually, you know, finish the map, and how many fights can we still get in regardless. Because that's already like the third fight, it feels like, but it's maybe the second. But yeah, 50% and counting, and the ultimates are also still in their favor.
Yeah, well, what they used they used the rally last. Dala, the only one using that one out. Now Yona using this Widowmaker in for sight, and he's getting it done. Oh, trying to thread the needle on this one. I do like that a lot. Nice stick on the Adnar from Yikid's getting up and aggressive. BQ trying something going here, but getting very, very low. Yikid's doing what Yikid does, nicely done. Yeah, so this is a little bit more even. A lot of ultimates being dropped, but this is still Morningstars that have yet to get a percentage on point.
Yeah, they still to get control, but this fight is starting to go a little bit long. They're maybe clutching out a little bit. QQ Bao is still alive here, getting healed by their support, so they take down Yikid. They could actually start turning this around, but they will need 1 or 2 tanks to actually get to point and have to sustain. Because for now, they're looking to regroup, but I think they'll have a numbers advantage for at least a little bit of time.
The big play here is that Cookie, WeQ, both on the Orisa and the Sigma, don't have any movement abilities to get back to point. Now they are giving the contestant that is needed. The one player out there is QQ Bob does fault very quickly afterwards. They deleted that one, fine flashy form. Q-Best getting something out. Yikid's with a big one. Actually, only going to take out the equipment on this, the invincibility shield and the supercharger. Chikari getting a lot done over here, but Khan shuts that one down very, very quickly. Yona still having all the time in the world in the back to get this chip damage in, get these headshots in, and I do think this is Young and Beautiful taking the second round.
Yeah, it really looks like, because Young and Beautiful going to be picking up the first map here, and you see it, right? It's so hard to get the grip sometimes on the Baptiste. Baptiste is such a pivotal hero in the current meta, because if the Baptiste throws their immortality field out too early, if they're not able to survive through something coming at them, like a Genji or a Tracer, or maybe even getting sniped from a distance, it's all going wrong. Like, it's just everything that falls. We don't quite get the play of the match by Dala here. It's happening, but we're not actually getting the POV apparently. Interesting. You know what? We're with it. We still got the nice play out there. You know, Young and Beautiful. Yeah.
Wow, Dala has 90% kill participation on that last. The defense is
Well,
36.
as well, right? And down 55, Bristol on 73. Like that just shows that they're really playing together as a unit and getting the kills
Yeah.
together rather than going for those solo plays. And I'm not saying Morningstar went for the solo plays, but it definitely showed that the coherence and the teamwork of Young and Beautiful. I said they have the pieces to put together and to really be good in this meta with the players they have and with the hero depth they have, the hero roster, what the heroes they like to play. And I'm really curious to see if Morningstars is maybe gonna like pick, go for a different map and then actually play something very different. So we're going to go to Blizzard World next. It's the second map on the board, of course, already match point for Young and Beautiful. Morningstars, I think they have to bring something different. I think if they're going to keep playing this mirror matchup, they're not going to go anywhere. We saw just like how this raw 6v6 goes without any objective to fight over, so a little bit less strategy. But that already was already Young and Beautiful just running away with it. Like there was just nothing going on there. So
No.
I really hope that Morningstars has something prepared. Maybe they have a different strategy. Maybe the control is just not their mode. It's all possible. So it's not over, but it's looking good for Young and Beautiful.
Yeah, definitely has the advantage. First two situation, Young and Beautiful possibly one away from taking this one here in day number 1 of this week, round robin format. I wanted to touch on your point again, Mana Class. When Young and Beautiful and Morningstars came up against each other, whenever they just went head to head, it was always Morningstars players falling first. Now, for a while, it was only the healers or the tanks. Now, what that says to me is that their DPS are doing a good job, either playing conservatively or getting super involved in the backline of Young and Beautiful. They just can't get a whole lot done. Now, the pressure onto the enemy healers, the supports, it's going to be huge, but I cannot disagree with you. I think that they only had so much time really to see if the mirror matchup worked, but across 2 different maps there, across 2 different control rounds, I can only suggest that Morningstars do something a little bit different.
Yeah, and of course, you cannot blame them. They've obviously prepared for this. They have they've scrimmed for it. They've prepared themselves for the meta, and it's logical that you go for this. Genji is a super powerful hero. Even if you play something else, you might still want to have a Genji there. Baptiste is so good at dealing with the Brigitte, even though the armor pack thing got nerfed. It's still a very good hero in a lot of ways to shut down something that engages on you. You still have that AoE healing. The Orisa Sigma double barrier is still very strong, and then the second DPS is kind of where you can maybe go for something else. Maybe you go for the Ashe, the Echo Tracer. There's different options there, but it's still looking fairly similar. They're going on attack with this Symmetra. It's gonna be the mirror once again. Symmetra just to get out of spawn again, just to cross that plane safely. Another coming gun gonna come through this snack hall.
Wow, so WeAQ actually with a very aggressive wall up the front. That's not going to get a whole lot done. Cookie falling, nasty headshots from Khan. He's been able to get these longer range shots out and already up to about 50% ultimate Mana Class. I'm looking at now.
Oh, it's so hard, right? I mean, because it's at least seen Khan be just up in that Baptiste ult charge, that's an interesting thing, right? Because you would think that if Young and Beautiful are able to do more damage, they do more chip damage to Young and Beautiful, then Samsung should probably have more healing. But apparently not.
No, I'm with it. What I want to see is a much more involved play with Morningstars and Shikoro really getting the yardage, the space that is needed for him to do bad things to the Young and Beautiful backline. As of yet, we have not really seen that. Pulls coming out from both sides. The classic Orisa pull, Genji dash, but that's going to be Yikid slashing away. That's 3 now that he's gotten a hand in, and that is the first team kill of the game. What we're looking at, Mana Class, is a Young and Beautiful squad that has not lost more than 2 players at a time yet.
No, it's just looking insane at this point. And a reminder to everyone, Yikits is 16 years old, has already played in 4 seasons of Contenders. So there's a very good reason why they're here, and they're still so young. They have so many places to go still. I'm very excited. I mean, they're not even eligible for Overwatch League yet. And they're already this good. I'm excited what that's going to bring into the future. This match is probably going to be some nice cleanup from the Genji.
Yeah, all the time in the world for this player to go forth, really show out on the Contender stage before the Overwatch League even possible. Definitely see him up there sometime. Young and Beautiful with a very quick team fight. Half of Morningstar has fallen already. Not a whole lot to be said about that one.
Yeah, Morningstars is getting up some ultimates. They're finally getting into a position where they might actually have an ultimate advantage. But the ultimate rotation from Young and Beautiful, their discipline has been so incredibly good. They never overinvest. And even if you feel that they overinvest, they somehow still manage to keep it even with Morningstars because Morningstars probably invested more or just as much. So now going to this fight, look at that. Straight into the supercharger.
Yeah, just a whole lot of damage right there, and Dan's supercharger is not going to last very long. Yikid's following suit on that one. This is actually a little bit more even, but just like that, again, Young and Beautiful have not lost more than 2 players yet. Yikid's down, but he'll be back with his team very quickly. Morningstar is now falling all the way back. They invested 1-2 ultimates? The QQ Bao Bob?
Yeah, they
Am
were
I saying that right?
QQ
Yeah,
Bao
okay,
is
gotcha.
probably the one. So we will have Yikits and Khan being quite a bit away from their ultimates. Yikits will probably get it, Khan maybe, but we will have 4 coming up from subsequent Morningstars. This is a very good position. If there's ever going to be a fight that they're going to win, it's either this one or a very quick one next when they have not used any ultimates.
40 seconds to go. They might even need a little bit of assistance coming out now. But Brusson falling. That's a nice Sigma ultimate off the top. Now that's 3. This is the best opportunity the Morningstars has had so far. They're all over point, and here it comes. Like you said, Khan was not able to get to that ultimate. He gets to the very, very end. Not going to matter. Morningstars now on a little bit of a roll here in Mana Class.
Yeah, Yikits and Khan both were a little bit too far away from their ultimate, so there was no real initiation plan that could be conjured up by Young and Beautiful other than try and play slow and maybe we can get the ultimates up in time. So finally Morningstar is able to get on top of that ultimate economy and execute properly, and they didn't even have to use everything. They still have a blade, they still have a supercharger, which together are still a force to be reckoned with.
Exactly. Now the stairs fight here as Yikids gets it going. 2.5 minutes on the clock, but he's looking to clean this one up quickly. Oh, the single slash onto the opposing brig, but we know how that one goes 9 times out of 10. Mana Class Dollar now with that rally, pulling it early because this team fight's still going. Yikid's finding one, Rust and falls in the thick of things. Yeah, Adnar getting way too aggressive on this one. So really what this says to me, what Morningstars knows what to do, Mana Class. It's just kind of like that what are they going to do when they have the opportunity? They recognize that they do, so they came through in the last with a big ultimate advantage, was able to take first point, so that's their first point on the board. Now moving a little bit, see what they do with this.
Yeah, they can finally get the payload going, and of course, Young and Beautiful is still going to hold on this high ground, a very difficult position to dislodge them from. And it's all about how Samsung chooses to attack this. Are they going to go up to that little choke stairway? And it looks like that's what they want to do with the Implication Matrix.
Both Amplification Matrix is out already. Cubes and Khan looking to invest those early as Shikari falls. Team Morningstar is fighting this 5-6, and they decide they don't want to. Actually, this is really smart, right?
It's very smart. Just, make them expend resources and then go in yourself. Now they'll have a few of their own. Once again, they are in a slightly advantageous position, but can they find the value with that Bob and that rally and Gravitic Flux?
Is this Weak Q who's looking for a flank? Nope, doesn't actually pulls him. What a fake on that one. Jonah falling early on this. Now Yikid's pulling that blade, trying to make it sing. The invincibility field out, but excuse me, Yikid's actually not living to the end of it. Interesting stuff. So a lot of back and forth on this one as members of Young and Beautiful and Morningstar taking picks of their own.
Cubes still behind them, tried to get that last kill on the Khan there, but will just fall. 40 seconds to go, though, and now, once again, this looks like a position where the DPS ultimates are ready versus their Gravitic Flux and that Amplification Matrix of Khan. And that is an interesting matchup. So what will get more value, DPS ultimates or Gravitic Flux? Because it could be that Briston just saves it until the blade comes in, throws the Genji up in the air, and that's one ult negated. And then there's only a Bob to worry about, which generally speaking doesn't get that much value.
Yeah, especially on something like this. There's very few straight sidelines on this map. It's very twisty-turvy, and obviously Bob can only run straight line. On board with Shikari, a little one-on-one action between Yikids and Shikari. I like it. Both of them, or no, excuse me, just Shikari with Blade, but actually falls with it. Oh, man, now Adnar, Shikari both down. A little bit of coming back attempted here, but another one falls. QQ bows Bob down, Q-Best, Cookie, Weak Q all down, and I do believe Young and Beautiful found their stop.
Yeah, that fight just gets opened up because Yikits is on a little bit of a cheeky flank, then baits Shikari into that pylon terrace inner area, and just Briston just cleans him up. Briston's like, you got you baited. I'm here. I'm Sigma. I throw in the hyperspheres, maybe an accretion, and you're just down. Like, there's nothing you can do against that. And it was maybe just a bit of, overzealousness of Shikari to think I can chase that I can get Yikits.
Yeah.
I know you can almost one-shot something like Genji nowadays, but if you're going that close to the enemy in such a small area where they can throw so much spam in there, that might be a bit too much. Of course, it would be a would have been a good pick. That definitely. But is it worth the trade? That's always the question.
Yeah, well, I think Morningstars were coming at this at a disadvantage, so it's kind of just like, throw it all out. Just try it. If it works, awesome. If not, this is Morningstars that have at least taken a first point after a control where they weren't able to take a single percentage. So just report the news there.
They won one fight. That's yeah, they did. Yeah. So it's Morningstars hasn't lost the entire series so far. They've won at least one fight, and maybe they can win one more on defense or a few more on defense. Of course, they have to hold either entirety of point A or point A in a little bit, and it all depends on how long Young and Beautiful takes to get that first point. How possible it's going to be. So far, of course, we have seen these teams be very dominant, at least in the balance of Young and Beautiful. But it's very possible that on defense, Morningstar shows up a bit bigger because it's relatively hard to push into certain maps sometimes. And if you can set up defensively, if you have that high ground position, we haven't seen Morningstars be in that position yet. So maybe they're going to be great at it.
I'm with it. The mirror matchup, these two teams again. No reason for Young and Beautiful to change this one. QQ Bao, Yona, really that's what I'm going to be looking at. These two Ashes are going to be the deciding factors of this game. Push up across the left now as pulls and more utilized by Cookie, but QQ Bao falls first. Yona, winning that one-on-one again. But this is a Young and Beautiful squad that's still pushing on. Cookie next. Looks like, the healing core for the side of Morning Stars. And this is a very quick team fight. 45 seconds or so, and this is into this game, and Young and Beautiful going to be taking point one.
Yeah, they're going to be taking point one, and of course, don't have much to go to get to point two. Only 83.18 meters, which is not that far.
No,
and obviously they're already pushing aggressively forward. They're already on this high ground, want to take that aggressive position. That's a good thing to do, but they do have to back off a little bit. They don't quite have the members yet to contest that.
I really do like these up top fights, though. Everybody up there has purchased themselves like the secondary backup of just simply falling down. There's a couple different healing options down there outside of your supports. So I really, really like this, especially with the pulls between Cookie and Don's. That's going to be the big thing.
Yeah, Cookie and Dance have both been pulling a lot, but I feel like Dance and Brisson's synergy, because they obviously played quite a bit. There you go. Nicely done from the defense.
Yes, QQ Bao, Wea Q, and Cookie all just absolutely coming together on that one. Great job with the Morningstars. They have found their stop.
Yeah, and we saw how hard it can be to push them on the high ground, right? We saw it in like the previous attack and defense. They're even going to be able to stagger out Dance here, get some extra ult charge. And it can be very hard because there's not that many ways to get up there. You can either walk all the way around, which is no one ever is going to do because they mean they're going to spam you down, or you can go through that tiny little staircase and try and get up to them. But they can spam, again, they can spam you down before you even get there and can do so much damage to you, and they're ready for you because they know exactly where you're going to be coming from. And they'll have a choke to spam into, which is smaller than the regular choke in Overwatch. We might see a low ground push, though. That's interesting.
I mean, there's just so much kind of spammy damage, like you were saying, between the Arista and the Sigma. But just like that, Cookie falling very, very early. The Bob getting something done against the side of the Morning Stars. This one being a decently even. Main support deleted for the Morning Stars. We know how this goes usually, but a great job from them for holding this one out. A lot of ultimates on board as Yuna now switch on over to that Tracer. Bob coming out. That's QQ Bao trying to get something done, but Khan says no go. You're not going to live through this one. Dons and Khan both taking down members left and right. Shikari not able to live through the 5-man push on top of him. I do believe this Young and Beautiful have taken this one second game.
Yeah, just a victory blade from Yikits to clean it up, and that's Young and Beautiful winning this series in a 2-0 and in a very fast fashion as well. The only way they could have really done it faster is if they full held on point A and then just, had to kept one tick, but this was not that much slower. So short game, short series, but definitely a fun one to start off with. It's so you got to see where the power levels of both these teams are. The predictions were correct. No one was really surprised by this. No upsets today. But I've enjoyed this. It was good to see these teams and see where they're at right now. And of course, Young and Beautiful now has to keep the momentum going, and Samsung Morningstars has to go back to this series and look at where did they go wrong? Where can they improve? What exactly did Young and Beautiful do that messed with us? Do we maybe have to change up our idea of what we as a team play composition-wise? Lots to go back on, and I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll definitely have some sessions because they have quite a few more games to play, at least 4, I'm fairly certain.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Little round robin action, 2 different groups. Morning Stars. If there's one thing I had to point out in class, I'd say that, and we talked about it a little bit, is like Shikari. It's either these really aggressive pushes towards a backline, or it's him playing way too conservatively on a character like Genji. We saw a literal picture perfect. Record it, put it on YouTube. This is how you do the 3P. QQ bows Ash, getting the shot onto the opposing Sigma after the pull comes up and the Creation comes out from Morningstar's Sigma, right? That's just like an instant 400 or plus damage, right? Just so much coming through all at once, and especially against a player like Sigma who already had his projected shield out down bottom. There's just simply not enough time for him to take it out and then put it back in front of him. And the eat they had seen come through just a couple seconds before, so they knew that was on cooldown. Stuff like that, repeat things like that, and go for more kind of picture perfect, classic combinations between players. And when you're at an advantage, go for it, push it, 100%, balls to the wall, go there and just shake that tree and see what falls out. As it was, I think the Morning Stars definitely knew that, because you could literally see the team as these matches were going on realize okay, we're at an advantage now, and then simply would take more young and beautiful players. Like I mentioned, we didn't see more than 2 young and beautiful players die the entire first game, and then a couple minutes into the second one. Now that was a completely different story once Morning Stars started firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, they definitely, especially on their defense, they had that thing going on the high ground. Like, they know how to play certain compositions and meta stuff. So I really like that. I really like that dynamic. I do see that we have. Oh, never mind. That someone joined our voice channel, so it's like maybe we have an interview, but it's all good so far. Yeah, we had a good start for the first game on Trials. Of course, it was a very quick one, so we'll try to get the next game up as soon as possible. It's scheduled to start in an hour officially, but if they can get there sooner, they can get there sooner. That's how that is. For now, though, we'll have to take a break because we don't really have anything else to do. I mean, we can chat for an hour, but I don't
I'm
think.
done with it. I'm done evading with you for a full hour there. But
Of course, we were talking about pizza toppings earlier, though. That was an interesting talk, but I don't think that's going to be continuing for an hour at least. I don't think we're that much in disagreement on that one. So we'll throw it to a break for you guys. We'll be again back as soon as possible. And I'm thinking on the other streams, so we have 2 streams going on this channel right now, is still a match going on that is, if I'm not mistaken, HSL versus Angry Titans, maybe. I don't know. They're at least playing there still in the other stream. So go check that out. Might be a cool series to watch. In the meantime, like I said, we're going to throw it to a break. We'll see you on the other side. And me and Tugboat will just bring you more action. It will be VASTA versus Avoided.
We'll be back with you guys in about an hour. Hello and welcome, esports fans. We are here live with game number 2 on the Reflash number 2 stream. This is Monkey Bubble Contenders Trials. This is the 1 week we're doing it. I'm FBI Tugboat joined with Man of Class, and we are getting it going here in this first of 2 between VASTA and Team Avoided.
Yeah, we definitely are Tugboat. It's going to be a great one. Of course, we just saw a very short but very sweet series between Young and Beautiful and Samsung Morningstar. So I'm happy to get into the next one. Still, rules are the same. First two, same map pool. Nothing changes in that regard. But we've got 2 new teams, like you said, Vasta and Avoided. And let's start talking about Vasta Gaming, because Vasta Gaming has gone through a very heavy iteration over the past few weeks. Of course, they lost their core founding player, Sauna. They're now no longer on there. And a few other members have come out. But Vasta has really geared themselves towards more of a divey roster. If you look at the heroes they like to play, there's a lot of like Winston Diva going around. The Echoes is coming into play. The Tracer is there. So you really feel like they should maybe not play as well against a meta composition, because dive is still a bit tricky to pull off there. But then you look at Avoided, and that's like the perfect team for them to play against, because they are not going to play meta. Like, whatever you say, they just won't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Avoided coming through here. These are what the team name has been decided, because these are players who are some of the most avoided in EU. They are all one tricks, but of course that means they're very, very good at the characters that they play. What that also means, of course, we're not going to see very much variation, and almost certainly not the more meta picks. Is that fair to say, Meta Class?
That is very fair to say. So it will be probably Tractor Kid, also known as Ball, who are going to be on the roster screen, is going to be playing that Wrecking Ball, according to their name. Lightbringer looking to be bringing up the other tank. Normally, they play the Torb player, but right now, looks like they're not going to. They're going to actually be playing another tank. Which one it will be, we don't know. Totti and Yezen will be on the Junkrat and the Pharah, most likely, with Hempy and T-Sorcerer ringing up the rear with a Baptiste and likely a Mercy, but maybe something else. Hempy can surprise us, might go on the Lucio, might be on something else. Hempy is a bit more of a flexible player, has been doing very well on the Ana though, so they could just not run a Mercy. It's also very possible.
Yeah, the Mercy up and down. I think it's far more likely to see the Baptiste or the Ana, especially.
Maybe both.
Those current iterations of them. So.
100%. So, since both of these teams are likely not going to be playing that hardcore double shield meta we saw in the last series, that was just a mirror matchup all the way through. This could be a very different and therefore very exciting series. But of course, it's always the question whether we're actually going to see that, because these teams could surprise us, just come out with, well, here you go. This is just what we're playing now, and it's exactly what we saw in the last series, and that's what we were expecting. So, one of the players I do want to note, though, Crisis. What they put on their sheet was just, here is Brigitte, then my second favorite hero is Brigitte, and then there might be some Lucio involved. But I don't mind that, because they're playing probably from the USA, a little bit of ping. At least they're US citizen. I don't know if they're actually residing there at the moment. So that could provide some issues there. And Tugboat, have you got some experience of playing on ping yourself?
I have not played too much over to EU, at least on Overwatch. I'm a Lucio main myself, and I've been known to play a little Brig myself as well. So your point about those characters being a little bit easier on ping, definitely the case. They're not hit scan. They're not characters that require a whole lot of big divey movements. Obviously, Lucio, one of the faster characters in the game, but given that his shots from the sonic amplifier are just they're not hit scan, a little bit slower, going to be a different story. And Brig, obviously, up close and personal with everything except for her whip shot. Just 2 characters that play into having not the best connection as well. So like you said, US player makes a whole lot of sense, and I do believe that might be the only US player we've seen on both sides of these teams.
It is, yeah. I mean, normally you do see the EU players go over to the US, not the other way around. So it's already a very, I would say, nice surprise that we see this coming out there. But yeah, I mean, I'm all ready to get into this game. Obviously, we're looking into starting on Busan again, and with these teams playing very differently, I think you can kind of speculate on what that's actually going to mean, because, like we said, Yezen and Totti being on the Junkrat Pharah could probably just be a lot of spam. And if you play double shield against a lot of spam, then you might have some sustain, but you're going to be very static in one point, so you just get blown up, really. That's what that comp does really well. They put them out of position with the Wrecking Ball or the Halt or something like that, and then they just decimate them with all that grenade and rocket damage. But if you're not going to be playing the double shield, if you're Vasta, you might actually play the dive, which according to their team sheet they might very well do. That's a very different ball game. I've casted games before where you saw that a Junkrat sort of taking over a game, that the enemy team switches to dive, and the whole dynamic changes. So that's why I'm particularly interested in what this matchup is going to be like. But the community again, this Trials community, they made a prediction, and the prediction is it's a fair one. I would say I would give the edge to Avoid as well, but it was not as one-sided as the Young and Beautiful game we just saw. That was like 94.75%. This one was closer. It was more of a 60-30 split. 60-40 split in that case. But yeah, that would seem reasonable. Vasta has definitely got a good chance of doing something here. And I'm interested if they actually pull out that dive versus what Avoid is going to bring us.
Yeah. Also, the big difference here is the two different maps. Busan being in control. I think dive would be way better there if you're looking to play double shield against a team like Avoided on a control map where the point does not move whatsoever. I think it's safe to say you're going to be in for a bad time. Different stories altogether for dive. We'll see what we get as we get into this one. Busan up first, and this is downtown.
Yeah, taking your way downtown once again, and like we said, is it going to be the dive? Or is it not going to be the dive? And it looks like it will be, but Explorer is right now on the Zarya, actually. It is on the Genji Disperse on the Doomfist, and I think they might very well run out with this, because they don't have that much time to switch, and it will be that exactly. No swaps coming out. This is a very interesting composition. They might just specifically play this, because the Zarya gets so much charge from all that spam damage.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is looking at the Zarya Doomfist combination, that classic, but wow, Julo falling very, very early. This is Yezen getting it going already. Got that Mercy Pocket up top, that extra 30% damage, making it sing so far. Lightbringer being Winston getting involved in this one as other members from the side of Avoided get close and personal. Abs falling as well as Crisis. That's the healing core for Vasta down, dusted, and Avoided taking point.
Yeah, Yezen just gets that first kill on the Yulo straight away with just poking down from above. And Yulo will therefore switch over to the Orisa, Explorer over to the D.Va. Edis is now on the Echo, Disperse on the Sombra. So many changes gone out, but rather change now than change in like a minute, of course, because there's not a lot of time left, and I like that they're trying to figure out a different solution.
I'm with it. Disperse now over onto that Sombra. Might do nasty things against our Yezen Pharmacy combination. T-Sorcerer as well. Explorer trying to get a little bit high and get some damage onto this Pharah combination. Now in the middle, Explorer forced to come back a little bit. Now with the rest of his Vasta squad. Big things actually happening from Ida's up top, and it forced this Winston down. Lightbringer back with the rest of his team. Toddy taking out this Sombra player. Disperse not going to be on the field for much longer. Ida's getting up very, very low after a nasty direct shot from this Pharah. A little bit more against him. Now coming all the way back. Abs getting shots all over the place after that. Yeah, that nano boost was supposed to come out in the thick of things there. I must have missed it.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened there, but I do know that I was completely wrong about Totti. Totti was actually, I was expecting him to be on the Junkrat potentially, but a Torbjorn is, of course, a much smarter pick in an open area like this. They do manage to get this kill on the Lightbringer, though, so this fight is definitely not decided in the favor of Avoided just yet, and they're going in deep. They're really going to try and pull out some ultimates and potentially even win this fight and flip the point.
Yeah, they have ultimates all over the place available right now. Toddy is now done. That barrage will come soon as the Echo now choosing a target. That's a little Torbjorn action. Nidus is very, very close to this already. Now he's at 17, gets super low and gets that back up. He will have that Torb ultimate, and this might be the deciding factor that Vasta needs. Hampe, Tractor, both done, deleted, and dusted after now Tractor Kid, that's balls. Minefield gets a lot of advantage, knocks 2 into it, and the switch on over to Vasta at 95% for Team Avoided. Lightbringer pulling out that Primal Rage there toward the end, but is not able to get out of dodge. Crisis and more gives him the business, and he's going to be back towards respawn. 15% or so for Vasta, and they look like they're holding strong.
Yeah, they do, but Vasta is not out of this one just yet. There more ultimates will be invested. Nice combination, but all the ultimates keep coming out from both teams. What a ult fest, even though this fight doesn't seem to sort of be over. That they still clean them up. All that invested. Might want a few of those back if you are Avoided. But I really like what we're seeing from Vasta here. Of course, already closer than the last series where they actually won a few fights, and now they're on getting some percentage. But it will be Yulo ready for the Supercharger. Crisis and Abs will have their support ultimates up. And there's not really that much on the other side. But they get that pick on Abs so early on.
Yezen just absolutely providing value all day long for his team. This pharmacy combination up top has just absolutely done nasty things against the side of VASTA. Now, Tractor done. An entire cadre of VASTA members taking out this ball here. Not such an easy feat as Yezen still looking to get something going up top. Half health as Explorer as he gives flack that is necessary against these avoided squad. And now it looks like VASTA just trying to regroup.
Yeah, you do get high burst value from Edis on that on an Echo, and then Spurs just disables targets. But right now, you've already lost Explorer entirely. Tractor Kick goes down the other side, no more ball to fight with, and the point will flip. But this fight is not over.
The T-Sorcerer Mercy ultimate out, but Tadic gets absolutely mobbed on this one. Edis and this Brig, that's Crisis, just giving him the business on that. Now, Yezen up top, trying to get up to this next barrage, but 75% not really that much quite yet. Edis getting it going, and all of these members avoided, forced off a point. Now, VASTA taking this back here, 85. I mean, Mana Class, we saw Busan last time go 9-9-0 both times. This is a much more even game.
It definitely is, but you do see that VASTA struggling to deal with all the separate elements. There's another fire in the sky. Barrage gets the double kill, and they keep on piling on with all those. Looks like Avoid is going to flip this one back and just win out this round. But like you said, a lot closer. And it did look like VASTA had actually a game plan of how to deal with this. And I do like it, because if you look at that, like I said, Edis provides a lot of burst damage. That Wrecking Ball, as long as they can get them to half health, they're just deleted from the game. That Focus Beam is just way too powerful in that case. And then Disperse disables targets in order to facilitate something like that. So I'm really liking that solution. The only thing is that they don't really have anything to really deal with the pharmacy other than their diva. And while Explorer is doing a great job of that, they need to not let the Fire get as much value and distract them as much as she is. And I think they're doing an okay job at ignoring her, but it needs to be tightened up a little bit more. Now we see Toddy go over to the Junkrat on this point. That makes so much sense. But again, changes from VASTA. They have something prepared here, and it's Torbjorn McCree.
Torbjorn McCree, not 100% sure how the Torbjorn will go here, but Edis on the McCree might be a different story. I think Edis was doing a decent job of handling the pharmacy up top, but really is just that last one that Yezen got. Again, with the assistance from this Mercy all day long from T-Sorcerer, really set that up. Huge barrages coming out from this guy to have one avoided their first round. Now, yeah, and that's just going to happen over and over. Disperse over on this Torb is just going to get that turret just absolutely mauled by this pharmacy combination. Toddy looking to get positioning on this. Edis really has his work cut out for him, and great job on that one, taking out the Mercy. Last few shots on that one, all gonna be money all day long. Crisis falling to the fair that is still alive, and Edis now has his work cut out for him a little bit. He isn't still getting stuff going on over there as Avoided barely gets the last of it. These two tanks for the side Avoided very, very low, but still fighting away on point.
Yeah, the Mercy is now back. They get dispersed in the Torbjorn as well. This fight is not over, but it's looking more and more like Avoided is going to get away with murder here, because they were looking like we're going to be in a bad position. Lightbringer will fall to the McCree, so the fight's still going on. There's still numbers, but Yezen built the barrage up in time to get Edis, and that's how they just clean it up with all the follow-up damage. Beautifully done from Avoided. And they were, like I said, they were in a little bit of a precarious position, but they just have that knowledge about all their characters that they can get away just in time. And it's so nice to see players have such mastery over their characters.
Wholesale switches now. Edis dispersed, both moving the Ash and the Tracer respectively. Now, was that possible? Was that barrage possible because the Explorer already used his Matrix?
Maybe. I think the Explorer might actually already been out of mech. I think he meched Explorer and then barrage straight away. Something like that. Or Explorer was just not there.
Yeah, Ooh, a little bit of wonkiness coming out. That tire out now, going to be waiting just outside of entrance, but Julo falling on that one. Avoided is comfortably in the driver's seat, Mana Class.
Yeah, they really are, and they're looking very comfortable at this point, particularly because they can finally play that Junkrat, the Torbjorn, a little bit out of the comfort zone of Totti, it seemed like. And they're just not able to deal with the pharmacy at once. They got the Mercy once, but then the Pharah still got a few kills afterwards. Now they're coming in with this Tracer, though, who has a lot more room to work with, because there isn't that much targeted aggression. They get Toddy.
Rez comes through. T-Sorcerer just in the nick of time. Nicely done. 88% Team VASTA has the work cut out for them. Attempted self-destruct on point, not going to happen. Explorer just using that one for a remake. We have an angry Lightbringer pulling that Primal Rage, but Toddy and Yezen just absolutely getting it going. Death from above as Julo taking a whole lot of damage. These tanks from the side of VASTA not going to live very long.
No, unfortunately, you're not going to get away with that one, VASTA. You tried, but unfortunately, no cigar on this one. And of course, it is control. You don't have that much time to swap, and they did constantly have to react to what VASTA was doing, to avoid what was doing. They're trying. I don't think they're going to be able to do so. There's too many ultimates online. There's the mines on the field. Crisis is on the Lucio. Will eventually just go down. And yeah, this is the that's indeed the map, the round of Void taking that 100-0. Not as close as the first round, but still we saw VASTA try and cope with it, right? And I feel like that's always going to be the story with Avoided, unless you have something that already works prepared straight away. They're usually going to get away with winning that control map, because that control map, you just don't have the time to actually adjust to anything. Yeah. You can't get the ultimates up. There'll always be a step behind. So I feel like if we go to the other map types, we start on Hybrid next. There will be much more room for VASTA to maneuver, to set up a defense of their own, to get an attack going and try and break the lock. You know, there's more time, more resources, more opportunity for swaps. So I have faith that VASTA can actually take a map out and maybe even win the series. But so far, Avoided does look in control.
Yeah. VASTA, you know, kind of different between our Young and Beautiful and Morning Stars game last time. Came through and Morning Stars were not so much able to find anything until the end. Now this starts out with VASTA, I mean, taking it, what, I think 90 to 99 or something like that in round number 1. Yeah. And then on the second Busan map, completely different story. Don't get a single percentage point. And really, I think the most impactful player here, definitely unavoided, and it's definitely got to be this T-Sorcerer. Without this Mercy Pocket, our Yezen Pharaoh was simply not going to be able to get half as much done as it was, especially once VASTA realized just how much effect he was having. There's not, I mean, it is a very, very tall order, I'll just say this. For any other healer to get that much healing onto a Pharaoh, especially when you have a Pharaoh like Yasun who's just going all over upstairs. You just aerially just all over the place, and it's just very, very hard for any other healer to really hold on to those heals as much. And it was what, 3 barrages or something like that they decided this game. Whenever VASTA had like a little bit of a point, a little bit of a foothold to try and come through on this, Yasun was just yep, I'm gonna pull the barrage and just take a 2 or 3 piece, and then after that it's just clean up. Really.
Yeah, very much so, and it was interesting as well, right? Because they had a backline. Like Kempe was definitely in the backline there on the Brigitte, but it was hard to get on. They didn't really have a diveable backline because both their DPS were fairly fairly mobile and fairly out there. Their tanks, of course, Winston and Wrecking Ball, very much more mobile you can't get, and then you have Mercy. So yeah, we saw Avoided just have a very nice composition that is tricky to deal with in a lot of ways, because there's so many moving elements at once that all are very good at the heroes they play. But now we'll have one part that's being removed and being replaced. So Lightbringer will no longer be in there. It will actually be Minimi coming back in. And it has to be because they prefer playing Orisa on this map. Yeah, like they're not playing Control. Orisa's coming out, and Minimi is, of course, the player to do that. The Orisa god, back from the Clockwork Vendetta days, comes back into this one to really show that Orisa is still a force to be reckoned with. Of course, we know Orisa is still meta everywhere, even in Overwatch League. So it's not like they need to prove that Orisa is meta, but I think they really want to show us how much you can actually do with that hero. I'm looking forward to that. It's been a while since I've seen Minimi play.
Yeah, I'm with it. T-Sorcerer, if he's able to continue on with the reses, that was another big thing. We got, like you said, Lightbringer not in this one anymore, but Lightbringer on the Winston did kind of just, straight up tank on this. Like, he got up close and personal and just took a lot of damage that would have otherwise gone to Avoided. The Winston dies, VASTA backs up, picks different targets and gets their group damage started on different characters. T-Sorcerer comes in, no Zara bubble, no, defense matrix on, no, absolutely nothing, gets perfect reses off multiple times in a row. Every time he started a res on Busan, he got it off in the end. And resing a monkey, resing a 500 health, tank is just so effective.
Yeah, we're going to see a bit of a hybrid defense come out here, so they're expecting Avoided, obviously, to run what they're going to run. So they pick Julo on the Winston Explorer on that Sigma. Ed is on the Ashe, Disperse on the Echo, and Crisis and Apps will be running the backline with the Baptiste and the Ana. And yeah, they're running exactly what we're expecting them to. Double spam with the Mercy, and then the Ana Wrecking Ball Orisa.
Yep. VASTA actually getting on over to point a little bit early, or excuse me, Avoided actually getting on over to point a little bit early. That was mostly just for pressure, not really a whole lot going up after that. On board of Tractors, gets a lot going on the back lines. That's Toddy that he comes over and kind of saves, it seems, but Avoided still alive on this one. Nobody dropped quite yet. A very split defense. Is it a fair way to say this, Man of Class?
Yeah, split defense, but also split offense, right? So they have to react to it some way, somehow. And they're really putting a lot of pressure on Yulo here. Yulo might actually go down very low. The Immortality Field does save them, but it does mean it's not available for the rest of this fight.
Wow, okay, so that focusing beam, Echo's focusing beam did get nerfed a little bit recently, but I believe that was just distance, right?
Just
it was not
distance,
anything to do with damage, yeah. So getting right there close and personal, Disperse, getting exactly what Team VASTA needs. That's a lot of players falling against VASTA. I think this attack might be done where it's... No, excuse me, Avoided kept this alive all the way through. And again, another res, T-Sorcerer able to get off Toddy here. Full 6 for the side of Avoided.
Yeah, and Avoided is able to just kite around a lot. They're hard to track down. They're hard to catch. They're hard to really, stick into one position. Minimi and Hempe are probably the closest ones to be able to do that too. But they just have so much sustain together that it's really hard to push on them. So Avoided, the only way you can really shut them down is either make them come to you and have some sort of flank trap set up, or you have to actually make the move onto them and hope that you get that backline, or bait them in by attacking their backline.
Here comes VASTA. They're getting up close and personal. Crisis, Hempe both falling. Disperse as well. And Yezen is doing so many things. Here comes a barrage from the top. A little bit eaten off on the defense matrix, but Explorer not able to keep out from this one. Edis, Disperse, Crisis, that fell a little while ago. Abs died about 10 seconds ago as well. That barrage just providing all the value in the world. No bubble, no defense matrix in the world will eat up the entirety of a barrage.
No, and you will definitely see that now they're switching over to the Tracer and the Sombra. Of course, they're expecting to be hacking and bopping all around. Crisis and Abs also on the more avoidable supports, but Abs still gets pile driven because they, of course, force out that fade. And oh, supports are already down tug, but what is this?
Wow. Yeah, so VASTA just proving that they really can't keep their supports alive. Abs died, what, 5 seconds in that team fight last time? And Yezen gets it going again. Disperse as well. No teleportation for you, my friend. Getting back over, already 75% on ultimate. And he has what, 1, 2, 3, 4. He has 4 players down there between DPS, a single tank, and supports, and nobody can take Yazen down. Just like that, he's got a barrage again. Can't expect that this one's going to sit up top right for very long as Tractor Kid falls. So Disperse and more actually doing a great job of ganging up on this Avoided tank, and Toddy falling as well. I think Avoided realizes they've lost this one.
Yeah, Avoided is going to back up a little bit, but they're going to get chased into spawn. The Coalescence actually invested here from Apps. They really want to get 1 or 2 more kills here. I think they can get T-Sorcerer. They do that, but can they get more, or are they going to lose some players? Julo is definitely just juggling around still, Tugboat. This fight is just continuing, but it's all cleanup. It's not really a fight. It's just they're sort of trying to half spawn camp them, but meanwhile you do see Toddy going behind them, maybe going for the payload, but no backup possibility. It's too far back. And
I mean,
ultimates, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. This is my man, Man of Class. Seriously, look at this. We have one Crisis player a little bit close. Disperse now has his, but wholesale ultimates available on the other side. That's
going.
Here's the sound barrier. Instant reaction from Disperse. Get the most out of the sound barrier. T-Sorcerer falling, no supercharger available for you, so Avoided really not able to get a whole lot done with their ultimates. They only dropped, what, 2 of them? Yeah, they used the Handpay Rally, they used the supercharger there, so a lot of group healing, a lot of group damage, but really nothing going outside of that. Do you have a little bit of, okay, so there was an Avoided player who was in the back lines, one on, getting a little bit farther on. I don't think he actually got it farther, and here comes Yezen with the barrage again. I feel like a broken record.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a mistake there from VASTA. Like half of them doubled back, and then it was actually Apps that was still left there. But oh yeah, and just finds the Tracer of Edis there. This is going to be brutal. They're just going to run into the spawn and keep spamming rockets. And VASTA was doing so well. They were controlling the tempo, being aggressive, making their move, not letting Avoided get out and make their spacey moves that they need from all the different directions. And now VASTA is pulled back into this corner. There's a tire coming their way. Oh, is it gonna get anybody, Tugboat?
Oh, yeah, it's actually going to have to settle for a baby Diva after Explorer comes out of mech. A lot of back and forth here. Yesen so close, 1.23 meters away, and that's pretty much just Hulo jumping around on point here, dispersed on the Genji, falling in the last little second, and 2.5 minutes for the side of Avoided. They have pushed this all the way. 2 score on the last one, 3 on this so far. We're looking at an Avoided team in a very, very good position.
They're in a very good position. They're capitalizing on like the slightest mistake so well. Like they were being held in spawn, and then there's this one maneuver that's being made that sort of flanks Vasta from behind a little bit, and then Vasta incorrectly reacts to that, right? So they only have abs not reacting correctly. They're sort of dragged away from the front from the back line and put into the front line all alone in front of Avoided. And Avoided just capitalizes on all of these things. It's like they're pre-planned. But a lot of the time when you talk to Avoided players, they're like, I mean, we don't really scrim that much. Like we do, but we just play the game and have fun. And it's very much that Clockwork Vendetta type of style, right? Where if we don't know what we're doing, how can they? Now, Avoided is a little more organized. I will say that they're definitely not the same as we never scrim, because they do definitely practice a lot together, either in competitive or together. They have a lot of good game nights. I know they have like a whole like Snapchat, WhatsApp group thing going on. Like they have fun together, and I think that's really what it's all about. They're having fun. They're showing us all that you don't need to play this hardcore meta in order to perform well in Overwatch. And Vasta is now going to try and deal with this. They're going on their own attack. They're going to pull out this dispersed Genji and Edis on the Echo. Now, we've seen Edis do very well on the Echo, and I think it can work well, especially if there's not really any hitscan on the other side. But they still need to get through. Their tanks need to also survive. Their supports need to stay alive. And let's see what they run into. It's a Symmetra!
Toddy's staying on the sim. Interesting stuff. So this will be the first time that we do see a sim played after the first 5 seconds or so of a game, and that really just used to get their team farther out. Now, but the Echo though, where is this target going to be? Who are you gonna copy? I like the disperse switch. This is something that Vasta tried last time, but there just wasn't really a whole lot of time to get it coordinated and get this Genji going.
Yeah, last time they duplicated the Wrecking Ball, but they might want to go for the Symmetra or the Orisa. Tanks are usually a very good target because you don't immediately get bursted out of it. If you go for a more squishy target, you usually just get deleted, and then your ultimate essentially means nothing, but you just have an extra life. So that's the only reason why I would really see that move when they use it as an extra life tool. This fight's now gonna go underway pretty soon. Avoid is a bit split, so Vasta could make a good move here.
Interesting stuff. So Disperse chasing down Toddy playing the sim. That is not something that you will see every day, man of class. Usually you'll see Toddy turn around on the sim, give that focus beam, just give him the business. You know, against the Genji, you can't deflect against that one. Oh, excuse me. 2.5 minutes or so. He's just getting a little bit low there, but now focusing beam onto Ball. Barely able to get away from that one. Maybe I spoke too soon. Yeah, so that's actually a Ball just proving that difference in move and maneuverability over the Echo. Edis, Yazen getting it going here, and that's actually going to be the Pharah. Or no, excuse me, I thought that was the Mercy, but it's really just the Ball that came over Tractor Kid coming back to Edis, finishing up that one-on-one. A lot of, close to 33%, but not quite Cigar for the side of Vasta.
And I really need to start getting some DPS ultimates up. It really feels like they're taking way too long to build this duplicate, this blade, even the tank ultimates. Now Explorer's even switching up the Sigma. It was getting close to the gravitic flux, but it's just not going to be the thing. Tractor Kid, so Ball will be taking down early here, and that's a good start. Obviously, they'll have a teleporter over to the spawn. The Ball is very mobile, so they'll be back basically before this fight even starts, but it's still a good pick to get.
6 ultimates on the side of Avoided, and just like that, I think Tractor Kid's back already. Just like that, there you go. Barrier first, then the Dispersed Blade, and Dispersed gets absolutely wasted. Oh, the barrage from up top. Now, Yazen did get damage onto multiple members. Tractor Kid able to finish up this first and stop that Dragon Blade in its tracks. The Sim gonna be the copy target so far. Toddy falling on that one. Gonna get a little bit of value from these turrets, but not a whole lot. Vasta over here, and actually that Echo pays off in spades, man of class.
Oh no! Tractor Kid! They get the triple boop onto Vasta because they were all way too low. And we've seen it. They said it. We can get the triple kill in a tier 2 scrim. And this is even in an official game. Tractor Kid just an insane ball player. You can see it. Just keeps on going. That movement is beautiful.
Oh my! Did you just watch him absolutely launch Julo like into the
Yeah.
ocean? That was gonna be kind of hard to maybe send a send a player into a tank like that. He was that big, but jeez, Reese just sent him absolutely flying.
I think Julo went for the reset, so he jumped off the map, but he hit the PAL driver mid jump, so that's why he got the kill credit like that. We do see now, we do see the crates coming out there. Hempe going down early is a great pick for VASTA to get. So a lot of healing gone for the defense now, Tugboat.
Yeah, T-Sorcerer has his work cut out for him getting Yazin up top healed, but Hempe, especially, that Ana does not have movement abilities, take a while to get back. 10 seconds to go here. Yazin, Toddy, both taking it. I think that might be the cherry on top of the sundae that Avoided has whipped up for themselves. This is overtime now. VASTA has no more space. Rock in a hard place for them. Coming all the way down, barely touching in time. Hempe falling again to eat his, but that is the only contention point for the side of VASTA so far. T-Source are pulling that Mercy Ultra, making it up close and personal, and you love to see the Battle Mercy go at it. Crisis falling there in the end, not able to get away from the Battle Mercy. Even that Lucio speed boost. And this is Avoided going to absolute town. 2-0 on the Busan, 3-0 on the Blizzard World. Love to see it.
Yeah, great play from Avoided all around. Like, of course, we know that Avoided can play this style where teams are just, it's so hard to prepare for. And I mean, I feel for VASTA. I definitely feel like they showed a lot of promise, especially on the first point of Busan. They got very close to winning a map. But I think Avoided, just as much as VASTA was adapting to them, Avoided also noticed what they were doing to adapt, well, what VASTA was doing to adapt to them. Yep. So, Avoided then adapts again, because of course, that's like the beauty of running a comp like that. You know how your comp works, then you know that they're going to eventually figure out how that works, and then you can figure out what they do. You already know what they're going to do against it because they think they figured it out. You change it up again, and then you just win. So like it's that triple psychology, always one step ahead, and unless you have like a really good teamwork and really good mechanical play, it's going to be very hard to deal with Avoided. And of course, we are at that high level. We're very much expecting these teams to do this well, very much expecting these teams to have that adaptability, to have that brain power, to have that this is what we're going to do next. But that doesn't mean that Avoided is going to be an easy team to prepare for. So I'm very curious to see what VASTA can do against a team that plays more meta. And I'm also curious to see what Avoided can do against a team that plays more meta. Because, of course, both these teams weren't quite the meta squads. VASTA wasn't, Avoided definitely isn't. So both of them still have a lot to prove against teams that will potentially be prepared in a very different way for them.
Yeah, I think it says everything that VASTA was able to come forward in game number 1 and get, I think, like 90 or maybe even 95 on point. What these two teams have learned about each other, I think, will come forward and really decide their matchups in the future. Yes, it is hard to predict a team composition from a team like Avoided, but at the end of the day, they know that these individuals are only so comfortable on individual characters. Like you know that the Tractor Kid is going to come through and play ball. Now, if this wasn't Blizzard World and there wasn't that boot capability right next to point, would that have turned out the same way? Who knows? Obviously, these maps will change a little bit. Obviously, there's not always that boot capability right next to the control point, or right next to the first point on a hybrid map. But I think that says everything right there. Really, in my opinion, though, the way the VASTA lost this was just not paying attention to the Pharah. They played the McCree hit scan for a little bit. They used the Echo to get up there a little bit. They used the Explorer Diva to get up there a little bit. But they let that Pharmacy combination reign supreme. The entire first match was marked by team wins for Team Avoided because of barrages. They were initiated after the rest of the team got the Diva down, got shields down, and more. Straight up, that was the deciding factor all day long.
Yeah, very much so. And of course, I'm looking to all these players, and I know their skill. Like, I know that VASTA, it's a little bit of a newer roster, so we also don't expect them to have as much synergy yet. We know that Avoided, they have fun in and outside of the game. So yeah, I'm 100% waiting to see if VASTA can improve throughout this trials week. Of course, it's a very short week that they have the time to do that in. And if they don't make it, they might have to go to OD playoffs and come back again. So there's a lot of potential for VASTA to get some things going. We will get an interview with one of the players from Avoided, which of course is always very nice to get a little bit of an insight into the brain of the player. We will go. Yeah, I think we're going to that really quickly. So we're just waiting for Lightbringer to be. It's going to be Lightbringer, by the way, from Avoided. Of course, was subbed out after the first map, but still played half the series, and I was doing pretty well on that win set. Of course, Lightbringer is someone who we know more as like the tour player for Avoided. But yeah, I'm really happy to see if to talk about talk to Lightbringer about that. You know why that choice is being made.
Yeah. Just to fill a bit of time before he comes in, I think that you can literally watch the communications on Avoided pop off. That was Yasmin on the Farah who pointed out the tracer down bottom to get an instant pick. But we got Lightbringer in here now. Lightbringer, how we doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing great. It's such a fun series, right? That's always what it's all about. But yeah, welcome to the chat. Of course, you had a little bit of a break during that map too, so you could just watch your team go to victory. Did everything basically go according to plan for you guys, or was there a little bit of a wrench thrown in the plan here and there?
No, I think for the most part everything went as expected. We really wanted to surprise people with me on Monkey at map 1 because I'm well known as a Torb 1 trick. But
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it something you like properly practiced for as well? That you're now like, oh, now I'm a Winston mate.
Yeah. Also, excuse my wife in the background. Sorry, she's having fun.
No worries.
No
worries.
So previous to moving to EU, I lived in America. I lived on both the East and West Coast, and I did play in high elo teams as a main tank. So I actually do know how to play tank. Like I just play Torb because I think he's fun.
Yeah, that's fair enough. You know, no problem there. No harm done, right? If it works, it works. But yeah, it's nice that you're able to pull that out as more of a surprise pick. Do you guys have all of these weird, because I've been talking to your manager a little bit behind the scenes, of course, and she's always like, you know what, we can bring in anybody we want at any point in time and they're just not going to see it coming. Is it really something you have properly planned as well for like the future opponents, or is it just something that happens at the spur of the moment?
I think with the original incarnation of Avoided, like we pigeonholed ourselves right into like one specific composition, and when you just like we wanted to stick with the motif of just like cancer one tricks, basically just super annoying stuff to play against. And this time around coming in, we're going to start flexing a lot more. I think we're going to learn new heroes, and we are practicing new things to like, I don't know, account for all variables. And that also means not repeating the meta. We want to like transcend the meta and do kind of like the Clockwork Vendetta sort of thing, where you just pay the way for new stuff.
Fair enough. I can dig it. But the entire idea of just like playing individuals that you're so comfortable on that the player skill on those individual heroes kind of transcends, to borrow your word, whatever meta picks or whatever might be most compatible, or whatever is the widely accepted most compatible meta. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, basically. I mean, if you think about your favorite Overwatch League player, you know, and they might play a Genji or something, and then the meta is goats, right? He's never going to play Genji. It's just not fun, right? You can't follow your own player because he's on Brig. It's just, I don't know. We would prefer to see people play heroes that they're comfortable on first and foremost.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm with it.
And so far, it's been working out. You know, first series down. Do you have any particular opponents in your group that you're like, well, I wouldn't say necessarily worried about, but that you're preparing a little bit heavier for than for others?
Fair question.
I actually can't even remember who all the people are. I don't think we're too afraid of our first two opponents here. Like, I mean, I just kind of jumped into this. Like, we are preparing. I can't remember who is exactly the.
I think you're playing Roar on Wednesday, which is off stream. I don't remember who you're playing tomorrow. So you group with Roar, VASTA, Angry Titans probably.
I think Sheer Cold is probably up there, and maybe Ultimates, actually. Like, Ultimates has a really solid roster. And
yeah, that's the one. That's the one that was in there. Yeah. Okay. Not Angry Titans, they're in the other group.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's that's. I mean, there's still, you know, of course, there's quite a few teams that dropped down from Contenders again, which is, you know, rough for them. But of course, they do have to earn their spot back, and I'm sure you guys will give them a run for that to make sure that they don't. Do you guys, because obviously you have a fair group of players now, both on the NE and EU side. Do you really scrim a lot, or is it a lot of competitive practice? Like, what's really the training regime, so to speak?
So our team is nothing like any other team you'll ever join. I think VASTA actually made a mention of this during the Fran Cup. We're more of like a community of people who are regarded as sort of bad for the game. Like one tricks or people who are really good at a specific hero. And like you can't assume that you can't run a hero in a certain spot just because it's not optimal. When you're a one trick, you find a way to excel in the worst scenarios. And when you do that and you make a team, it's like you're fitting a bunch of weird puzzle pieces in together. So our roster is actually huge, and we are running sort of an NA team, but it's not complete yet. But we've actually had a decent amount of success with some of our NA players. Bastion Main, Aquamarine is really good. Yeezen's actually been ringing for NA with 230 ping or something, and he's popping off. That guy is a monster.
Yeah, I casted their first game in the Fran Cup. I unfortunately lost it against Dark Mode back then, but like you can see that there's definitely potential there. Of course, the ping did play a factor. That's it's always going to be a thing, like you say. But yeah, it's really fun that you guys are just approaching this whole system in a very different way. And I think a lot of people watching might not have known that. They might not have been aware of like, oh, this is actually also an option. I don't have to play double shield Genji Ashe or Tracer. Or whatever. Like I can do other things. And I think definitely that holds true the more down in elo you go as well, right? I think you guys have experienced that as well, probably. Where if you go to Diamond and people say, "No, you have to play this because it's meta," you're like, but
oh yeah, it gets worse. And the thing is, like, there's actually like a bit of a trap in elo there too, where if you're not running meta, your team will actively work against you as well. They'll try to throw your games. So I don't know, it's weird, but yeah, you see it a lot more down there where they think the meta is just the end all be all, and it's just not.
Yeah, and I think I like that approach, really. Yeah.
I can't agree more. The way I look at it, if you're coming through player, I think this has a lot to do with the whole video gamer mentality. That if you come through and there's these randoms in there that are trying to, play the one trick, which almost might seem selfish, but I think you got a very, very good point that Overwatch does a good job of having these heroes, balancing these heroes that are good in almost any situations. Now, there are some maps that simply, like Yeozen would probably not be able to do the same things on Pharah, right? That's fair?
Yeah, absolutely not. Like, I mean, some people, like, they would pick Pharah because it's good in that situation, not because they're good at Pharah. And that would be the difference between our team and other teams that are just picking counter comps.
Exactly. Pharah is still a relatively good character, even though some maps might be like, again, that lower ceiling or whatever. So there's only so much you can do, but it comes down to the individual player skill and them making that work no matter what in individual situations. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last sort of deep question that I got for you. So we were sort of speculating before, right? Because you play a fairly unorthodox style. So at some point, someone's going to like figure you out, so to speak. Of course, you're trying to get ahead of that. But I'm assuming you guys already know that, okay, if they're going to figure us out, then this is their solution to that. And then we have another solution for that. Like, how many levels does that go?
It actually goes infinitely. And it like when you pigeonhole yourself into a single hero, there is actually an end point. Like, there is a point where you cannot take that hero any further and you have to switch. There's no choice. And it actually happened to us in the last official match we had. It actually, the team did figure it out and they did run it, and we got absolutely rolled. No, I shouldn't say rolled. It was pretty even, but we just sucked on KOF. Like, we could not win KOF.
Okay, but so that's why, like, right now you're trying to get to some adaptation, right? So maybe a few different heroes, extra players in the roster to like have that flexibility to, when they figure it out, then have stage 2 basically coming up. So avoided stage 2 and then stage 3. That's I like that, because you said, like, I keep ahead of the meta, keep developing and keep iterating it. Now for the fun stuff, who is the loudest on your team?
The loudest? It's actually probably me. Unironically, European players tend to be really quiet, and I'm a loud American, I guess, and I'm quiet for an American too. So as an American, I do, like, when I'm on Monkey, I'm just screaming targets the whole time, just right down the mic. I didn't play today, but I imagine the loudest target might have been Ball, and he's like meek. He's proper meek on the mic. So
there you go. I like it, kind of fitting that stereotype of like the loud, boisterous American, and then more calm, cool, and collected European players. I like it.
Yep.
Lightbringer, I want to thank you for giving us a little bit of your time after game, coming on and giving us a little bit of your opinion.
Yeah,
Give us
you're
the
welcome.
shout outs. What do you have to thank? Who do you have to not thank? You know, give us the shout outs, give us the plugs.
Yeah.
Do it.
Oh, shout out to everybody, man. I don't know. We actually felt like we got kind of screwed. We were like offered a spot to come back and
Mhm.
compete and so thanks to those guys. I think they're actually on a different team now, and I hope to see you in Contenders. But yeah, thanks for giving us a chance to show our skill and just move on.
Yeah, just prove that you're worth it, basically, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, again, like, thank you very much for being here. Of course, anybody can find Avoided on Twitter and everywhere, so you can keep up to date with their schedule. I think it's Avoided GG, actually, just on Twitter, fairly easy to find. They have a beautiful, what's it, danger sign, you know, awareness sign. There's a big triangle with the exclamation mark. It's fair, you know, you'll notice they'll be there. So keep up to date with them. I think they post some funny memes and clips every now and then as well. And with all those fun heroes, it's probably original content. So, yeah, with that, thank you very much, Lightbringer, for being here. Of course, good luck in your next matches. And, yeah, you know, congrats still on the win.
Yeah, thank you. I'll see you guys later.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Cool, Tugboat. That was some insight.
That was fun. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed talking to Lightbringer there.
Yeah, and I think I really like. Of course, you know, they have a very different team. Like Lightbringer definitely pointed that out. Like they're so different from what we're used to seeing. Like how teams practice. You know, scrim every day, and you know the same comp, and then a few different iterations on different maps. Like they're so. I'm not gonna say weird because it's not weird. It's just they're so unorthodox. Like that's like unique, and I think that's really a feel I like. Of course, we all to a very large degree fell in love with Overwatch due to all the unique characters. So bringing them out to their full potential, bringing them out because you want to play that hero because you're so attached to it, or for any other reason, really really resonates with a lot of people, I guess. And even though some are just liking it for the memes, I'm still sure plenty of you are also out there really liking that. Not just the same thing as being playing over and over again. And so far, we've had a relatively diverse day. And we started with Young and Beautiful versus Something Morning Stars. Yes, they played the same comp for 2 maps, and both mirrored the heck out of that. But then you go to that second game, and almost no same hero is being played in the exact same way. Like it's this completely unique, very fun to watch, very brawly, very diverse. And when both those teams go up to against other teams, we're going to see more of that diversity, more of that mixing it up. Lots to look forward to. But that was Trials Days 1 concluded at Tugboat. We've done it.
Yes, sir. Come to the end. I like it a lot. To throw in my last little opinion on the kind of the avoided side, like kind of the one tricking. I think that when you talk about longevity, I mean, yeah, we all got an Overwatch because, like you said, different characters, a little bit of something for everybody. Longevity, I think burnout happens a lot because of forced players, right? Like how many player announcement how many twin longers do we see from players during GOATs, right? You have an entire DPS section, right? Who's just simply not allowed to play their heroes like at all. You know, there was I guess Sombra was a little bit tiny variation. They could come through. Other than that, is just tanks and is just healers. So longevity wise, I think that Avoided is doing great things for their players and allowing them to really excel in the individual characters that they enjoy playing. But like you said, I do believe with that we have reached my least favorite part of any broadcast, and that of course is the end. I'm FBI Tugboat, my man of class. I want to give a shout out here to Juke down there in Producers Box, just producing away, making our jobs just so much easier. Like you said, this has been Contenders Trials, day 1 of our 5 days, right?
Yeah, day 1 of our 5 days. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, different teams. It will be great. It's just 8 CEST. That is, if I'm not mistaken, 2 p.m. EST. Yes, so because -6. So be sure to tune in. Just come back and we'll do more trials for you. Like we're gonna get all the way through to Friday, which is the last day. And it will be series after series of great Overwatch. Don't miss it. Up and coming talents being shown, and we'll try to get as much content of interviews out of there as well. So get to know the players, get to know the teams, and who knows, you might see the next Overwatch League player blossom over right here on Monkey Bubble.